I want people to think about a problem in their life and how they could solve that problem with a group. Let's get a group of people in the same room that are feeling the same thing. That's where it ultimately started. And I started to see how profitable it was, because if I go down that thread right now, I probably have sold a house or got a referral from almost every person in that thread. This almost feels like stealing, to be dead honest.
4. I've always wanted to do that. I've never got to do that on a golf course, friends, because all of my shots are in the fairway. You know this, you'd expect nothing less. But today we are going to talk to a gentleman who has turned golf into a family business. He doesn't own golf courses, don't get me wrong, but he tripped into something that changed his life. You see, he joined a country club and from there realized that any group of people joined by a like hobby could literally change each other's lives. This team does over 325 units a year, friends, over $90 million servicing Dayton, Columbus, and the Cincinnati markets. And he does it all through putting together groups of like-minded people joined in community. He is going to tell you exactly how to do it. I am talking about none other than Ryan Gillen. Friends, if that wasn't enough, he's less than 35 years of age. There it is. Now you all feel older. Sit back and buckle up. This is Ryan Gillen. And I am joined by my friend Ryan. Ryan, how are you, sir?
Doing great.
Ryan, I ask everybody, man, and you're not getting away from it. How'd you end up in the greatest industry in the world?
Honestly, it's a family business, and it's not that I work all with our family, but my dad was a real estate agent, or still was a real estate agent for about 40 years plus. He was a broker. Owner.
I'm jumping in. So you're a kid, you're growing up, dad's an agent. Did you grow up running around open houses? Were there open house signs in the garage? Did you stuff envelopes at the kitchen table? These are the things that real estate families do.
It's funny you asked that. I remember going on listing appointments, sitting in my basketball jersey. My dad's like, hey, be quiet, sit there. And I was like 12 years old. And, we'd be watching football and all of a sudden he'd be gone and come back in the third quarter. I'd go, where'd you go? Oh, I went and showed a house real fast. So we didn't really know anything different. So like later in life, it's really helped us because we just really know what you have to do to be successful in real estate. Without even him teaching us, we just kind of knew. So
it's so good, man. Yeah. I learned that real estate was a family business when my then 7-year-old knocked my open house signs into my Mercedes. And I realized we were all in this thing together, that the real estate business was a family gig. So you go one of two ways, though, with a family business. You either wake up hating everything about it your whole life and vowing to never do it, or you love it and build your life to end up there. Which was it for you?
Little bit of both. So my dad was pretty successful in the area, pretty known real estate agent in the area. I went off to college at University of Kentucky, and I really wanted to be known for me. And so I took a job in another industry, found out in 6 months that there was a very low ceiling, hated that ceiling, and I was working a lot of hours. My dad calls me one day and he's like, if you just work the same amount of hours you're doing there right now, you're just crushing real estate. I quit the next day, signed up in real estate class the next week, and really just kind of went from there. But I wanted so bad just to make my own name, but then I found out I could make my own name in real estate. But he definitely convinced me to come back and give this a shot.
I love it. Here's an interesting stat, right? So when you study the wealthiest people in the world, the number one way that they get rich is through inheritance. And so, by the way, if you're lucky enough to be in that group, take it. Ryan, you didn't inherit it, though. You didn't walk in and dad just say, hey, man, here's the business. It does 300 units a year. It's now yours. Good luck with all the money. That's not what happened.
No, I lasted about 3 days working with my dad. We butted heads pretty hard. And so I went out and did my own thing. But he was very good at telling me to do something. I'm like, hey, I don't know what to do. He's like, you should always be doing something. I remember he came home one day at like 4:00 and I'm sitting there on the couch with my mom, like watching a show. And he's like, what are you doing here? This is when I was still living with him. I was 23 years old. I'm like, I don't know. I have nothing to do today. He's like, you always have something to do. That was my cue to get up off the couch and get out of the house. So, but yeah, so we found out pretty quick that you don't come home very early.
So good, man. Yeah. So you decided to go off on your own. What does that conversation look like with dad?
Yeah, there wasn't really much conversation, just continued to keep working. Started pretty quickly with everything. My real estate career saw some success there, but realistically, it was just kind of what we did. It was the same thing that he did. He was in the business for years, but never really built a team or anything. So it just felt very normal.
So you have some success. You're starting to kick it off.
Yeah.
What makes you decide to build out the team? What happens? Because there's a big gap between what you're describing and 90 million in sales that you do every year, right? So how do you take that leap?
So one day, I'm talking to him in the hallway, and he says, "See that guy over there? That guy's name is Mike, and he's got 45 listings right now." And I'm like, "Well, how's he do it?" And he said, "Well, he just calls people." And so I figured out like the systems to call people and everything. And then 6 months later, I had about 40 listings myself that were active. That was the time the market started shifting. So I built up all these listings, and the market started shifting. And I think I sold all those 45 homes in a matter of a month. And the Gillen group really kind of grew out of necessity, and ended up hiring my first assistant. After 2 weeks, we sold like a house every day. And she's like, "This is not for me. This is crazy." So I hired another person to help her, then another person, and it just kind of grew from there. At the small brokerage that I was at, that my dad owned, was an independent. I was the only person that had a team. I was the only person and so didn't really know what I was doing, but we were just hustling and selling homes.
So at some point you look up, you need some models and systems to go grow the team. Do you end up reading the book, The Millionaire Real Estate Agent?
I read that on a plane on the way to the National Association of Realtors convention. My dad's business partner was getting inducted as the president that year, and I had been in the business for like 3 weeks, and I didn't understand anything about that book except for leverage. And I understood that in my life, and I understood that. So that's the only thing I remember taking from it. But I remember getting done with that book and being like, "Man, what did I just read?" So, because I had been in this business for 2 weeks. Yeah.
But now fast forward, ultimately you end up building a team that looks remarkably similar to the way that it was laid out in that book. How does that end up happening?
A lot of failures, a lot of messing up, a lot of saying the wrong thing, doing the wrong thing. We did the right thing sales-wise and helping our customers, but realistically, probably didn't have the best systems at the start, but everything started to fall in place more and more. And then 8 years into the business, my father ended up selling that brokerage. And it was my first opportunity to really look into other brokerages. And that's where I found Keller Williams. And that's really when the systems and everything really, really started to come into play. Went from a team that sold a lot of real estate that wasn't making a ton of money to a really profitable system-based team.
All right, so let's dig into it. So, gang, we're about to unpack a model. And the model that we're going to unpack, Ryan, when you look up, you do a lot of things really well. But the way that you're running business networking groups, that seems to be an incredibly powerful lever for you. How did you end up falling into that?
We were, calling one day. They're really tough clients. And when I came back to Dayton, Ohio, I joined a country club and became really good friends with a lot of young professionals out there. So I started a group thread and with all these young professionals, it ended up growing to like 35, 40 people. We still have this thread 7 or 8 years later, 9 years later. And I started realizing I got a lot of business from it. I was the mayor of that group thread to the point to where I would be on the driving range and there'd be another young professional there. And I'd start a conversation with them and they'd say, "Hey, I need to meet a guy named Ryan Gillen. He's apparently like the connector of here and all this kind of stuff." And I'm like, "Oh, yeah, you found him." And I would throw him in the group text and, introduce him to everybody. Well, then they would kind of be indebted to me a little bit. And so that's where it ultimately started. And I started to see how profitable it was, because if I go down that 35, 40 person thread right now, I probably have sold a house or got a referral from almost every person in that thread.
That's so powerful. Gang, don't worry. The first step is not join a country club. I just wanted you to hear how Ryan saw the power in formulating one of these groups. We're about to tell you exactly how to build out a business networking group. Now, you don't have to take the notes. I'm taking the notes. Ryan can prove it. I got pen in hand. If you're watching on YouTube, you're seeing it live. And we're going to tell you exactly how to do it. If you don't get the notes, they come out every Thursday. They get emailed to you as a PDF. Go to MREAnotes.com. That's MREAnotes.com. Sign up and you will get the notes. Ryan, tell me exactly, how do I build out a business networking group? What's my first step?
Everybody thinks it needs to be something crazy, something very intricate. It really doesn't have to be. It can be a bunch of guys that like playing golf and want to join tee times together and talk about golf. Tomorrow, actually, for Bandon Dunes with 8 guys from my club, and they're all my clients as well and stuff. So essentially, it's the same model. And I have a business networking group as well. And I have an investors group as well. And it's the same model. So I want people to think about a problem in their life and how they could solve that problem with a group. It could be as simple as a guy that's on my real estate team. I talked to him. He's a season ticket holder for the Columbus Crew soccer team. And he hates watching away games by himself. So I said, why don't you get a group of people together that are also season ticket holders, and you guys go house to house and watch away games together. You're the mayor of that group. You coordinate it. Someone caters in the food each time, and you meet up. The problem is I don't want to watch games by myself. I'm sure other people don't want to be lonely as well. You coordinate that group together. You start the thread, and then you watch games together. That's as simple. That's as like dumbed down as I can make it, but it's unbelievable how simple it is.
It makes perfect. By the way, anyone watching soccer alone, call our helpline. We're worried about you on an emotional level. We want to help you. Any sport where you can't use your hands, Ryan, I struggle with. Okay, so what's the problem I can solve? And then how would I use a group to solve it? That makes perfect sense to me. How did that end up leading you into starting the business networking group? What were you trying to solve?
So I'm very passionate about young professionals or anybody trying to push their business forward. I'm very intrigued about the different workings of different kind of businesses. And I have a lot of friends that have small businesses. I'm always asking them questions just because I'm very fascinated about them. And I'm always wondering, how can I help them? One issue in the Dayton area is it's not a very young area. And so there's only so many young professionals, young business professionals that are building businesses. And sometimes it feels a little lonely. So I spoke to a couple of my friends and I was like, hey, how would you like to do an every other week meeting in the morning with some like-minded people, and we can talk about our problems, any kind of problem we may have. We've talked about our spouses and how we're supporting them. It doesn't matter what it may be, but let's get a group of people in the same room that are feeling the same thing. And it really just kind of grew from there. People really feel great leaving that room because they just had an hour therapy session with people that are like-minded. And sometimes you feel a little lonely. Definitely in this real estate world, you feel lonely, but they feel lonely as well because they're making the same decisions, being leaders at their company.
So in essence, you're running a mastermind. So step one, what was the problem I was trying to solve? In this case, you were trying to solve young entrepreneurs in the area. It meets every other week. You said like-minded and then mastermind around a problem. Let me ask you some questions. Where do you meet once a week or once every other week?
Yeah, my office, where I'm standing now, we meet once a week at 8 a.m.
So you have this big Keller Williams office, which is an advantage. Why not use it? You have the physicality, so you open up your space to them, immediately setting the stage that you're the real estate guy because they're meeting at your office, which is a real estate office. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. So, and it virtually costs me no money. I think I bought some donuts a couple of times. It literally just costs our time.
Okay. What time do you have the meeting?
8 a.m. and we start at 8, we end at 9. Some people usually hang out after just a little bit, but we try to get people started on time, end on time, because we know they have busy days.
Okay, so it's at your office. Does everybody know the standing time, or are you emailing them invites and text messages to remind them? How does that go?
Yeah, it's a standing time. About 2 days in advance, I just remind them, hey, can't wait to see everybody at 8 a.m. on Wednesday. If you do have a guest, please let us know who that might be that you may be bringing. Other than that, can't wait to see you guys. If there's a topic that you want to talk about, let us know, because we start every meeting with, hey, what problems are you dealing with right now?
Okay, so then they show up. Do you have a room set up? Is it set up in a certain way, or they're all sitting around a table? What's the setup?
Yeah, so just kind of depends on how many people show up. It fluctuates a lot. If it's just kind of depending on what time of year it is. But we just have a circular table. Everybody's sitting around, and it's just a big round table.
And on average, how many people do you get to each one of these?
Anywhere from about 8 to 12.
Okay, and they're all in your case young, and they're all business owners. So you're curating the group. Let me just take a wild guess. There's no other real estate agent in the group. Is that right?
Yeah, there's no duplicates of any other company or any other genre of business. So yeah, no duplicates.
Okay, so walk me through. Tell me some of the different industries that are represented.
So the other day we had a closing, and I was the real estate agent. The lender in the group got the deal there. Then there was a title guy that he's one of my best friends, owns a title company. He did that deal. He's building a deck on the back of his new house. And so a contractor in the group is doing the deck. And then the one guy owns a moving company, so helped them with that as well. So it was like, hey guys, Jeremy's closing, and pretty much everybody was excited. So it happens pretty quick that if we get a deal, then almost everybody gets a deal together.
That's so good. Everyone's celebrating. Okay, so I think I understand now when it happens and the setup. Walk me through the meeting itself. It's 8 a.m. What happens first?
Pretty much everybody comes in, says hi. It's pretty casual. First 5 minutes, just talking, catching up. And then I'll just ask, is there any problems that people are having over the past 2 weeks that they would like the group to solve? And we just feel it's very cool that we have so many people from different avenues that are able to have a different outlook than maybe a real estate agent. So we ask the question, is there any problems that need to be solved? And then we just start brainstorming that problem after they announce it.
Well, give me some examples. I mean, I'm sure some of the topics have surprised you. Some of them have been great conversations. Others have been average. What have you all talked about that blew you away?
Yeah, usually a lot of them are hiring and staff related. We have a great HR person and so we'll, hey, I'm having a problem. Like I was having a problem hiring a certain position, and I kept interviewing, and I'm a terrible interviewer. And they gave me all tips on, hey, this is what we do. And I took all those answers and I just laid out, that was the questions. And we ended up hiring someone a week or so later. And then another position we were trying to hire, I said, hey, I'm looking for a new media director. Guy in our group's like, hey, my friend runs a media company and they educate people. Here, call this person. And it's just really interesting how fast the connections happen and these problems get solved just from a different perspective.
So then you mastermind on whatever the problem is all the way till 9 o'clock?
It usually doesn't happen all the way till 9 for that one particular problem, or even a couple problems. And then we have another topic that we shift to. So it might be, hey, what's the best way to get reviews in your business? What's the one week we talked about our spouses and how we're showing up for our spouse, being that they're all married to entrepreneurs, and we all know that's a difficult thing. And I mean, we had people crying in the group, everything, because talking, we got pretty deep about things. So we try to do some type of problem solving, and then another topic that can help improve our businesses and how we can help improve each other.
Dude, I love that. And so you're at a company that wakes up every day and has models and systems and masterminds, and you're involved in all those things. Other businesses and other companies just don't do that. Have you found that you have a more refined perspective than a lot of them because of the education and masterminds you're in through your real estate company?
Yeah, and I'm in MAPS coaching with Leah Limberg, and we talk about it all the time. A lot of the things that I'm talking about, I bring to that group. So all the different forms that she has that I'm filling out for my business, I'll bring that to the group. And it's amazing how much my real estate world translate to their world, and we're talking about the same things. I do consider myself like the mayor of this group. I did start the group, but also I feel that I'm the most educated person when it comes to progressing forward through the things that I'm learning through MAPS coaching and through all these different masterminds. I just went to Mega Camp and I came back with a bunch of different material, the keynote speakers and everything. And we brought those same topics up to our group. It's nice for you guys to provide some material for me.
That's so good, dude. All right, so now quantify it for me. When you look up and you determine how many either transactions or volume. How do you think about the success of this group? Do you have any idea of what it produces every year?
Yeah, so this group this year should be anywhere from be about 6 to 8 million in sales for me. Just almost feels like stealing, to be dead honest. I mean, it is so easy and it's fun, and I enjoy being around these people. They're all great people, but like you work with the easiest people. They all like you, and the transactions are easier. They listen to you because they know you're the professional. It's just really easy.
Dude, I absolutely love that. All right, so now it's 9 o'clock in the morning and the meeting is ending. Usual gang hang around, finish their coffees, and then head out, and then everyone starts about their day?
Yeah, some people jet out as fast as possible. I have another couple buddies that will come in and talk for a bit. It just kind of depends on what the day is, but for the most part, I mean, they might even stay. I bet people stay for an extra hour and just elaborate on a topic. So I might look at them and say, "Hey, I gotta go, but you can stay here." So
the HR person. I wouldn't have thought of that, by the way. And it's genius that, all businesses are a collection of people. We should have an HR person who's there to give us advice on people. Is there any other owners or business people in the group that you wouldn't have thought that because I get mortgage, I get title, I get contractor. I wouldn't have thought of HR. What else am I not thinking of?
we have a guy who owns a logistics company. That one's always interesting to hear about his world. And then we have a guy who just launched a new app for investing. And he's like a serial entrepreneur, and he's owns a restaurant, launched all these different types of apps. And so learning about like the process of launching an app and crowdfunding and just a world that I've never seen before was very interesting. So you get a lot of like really cool personalities in the room, but they're also working on just completely different things than you are. So that's what's so fascinating about it, because their day to day is just completely different than mine.
Makes perfect sense. All right, last question for me. You started this with an anecdotal story about the country club, which I love, by the way. When you look up now, most people say joining a country club is going to cost me blank dollars per year. I'm going to have to pay the fee to get in, then I'm going to have to pay monthly. Do you make money? When you do the math every year, based on the referrals you get from your country club, does the country club cost you money or make you money?
I hope our GM doesn't listen to the MREA podcast. He might raise my dues, but I make a lot more money than what my dues are. That's for sure.
Well, what's the key, man? Because look, the idea of the country club real estate agent has always been there. If I'm a member of a country club, what are the 3 hacks?
I will tell you, it doesn't always work, because I tried to join a second club in the area. So I was a member of 2 clubs in the same town. And it didn't really work for the other one as well, because I wanted to spend more time at the club with the better course and everything. But essentially is you have to get involved. You have to be connected with some of the boards and the committees, and want to be involved with not only the people, but just also the success of the club. I think that's absolutely fantastic. And once people see that you're involved, they're going to be more likely to use you. Yeah, you got to go and be in all the events, the member guests, the members, everything like that. But you also have to show people that you care outside of the club. So if they own or run some kind of business, getting people referrals inside that club will spread like wildfire. If you start helping people that are inside that cohort, they will make sure that they take care of you as well. The reciprocity will be very, very, very high there. And people will find out, hey, Ryan Gillen sent me so-and-so and did this. And so I try to see who those people are and help them outside the club. Just being involved. If you join a club and you go play 9 holes by yourself on a weekly basis, you're probably not going to get anything. When I joined as a 24-year-old, I used to look at the tee sheet, and if there was a threesome, I would join people that I didn't even know. And it's like once a week, and I would just go join a random group. And then by like the end of the year, I just knew everybody at the club, but I was just joining random tee times and playing with them. So you definitely have to be involved. It just isn't like, hey, you write the check for the club and it's all this money comes pouring in.
Well, now, does it only work if you're a great golfer? Because like if I'm joining a 4th and I golf, not so well, I'm not going to be real popular? Or is it okay as long as you're respectful and having a good time?
Yeah, if you're bad, just play fast. You're no one's gonna hate on that. I do consider myself a pretty good golfer. I did play college golf, but I so I can play a little slower than you can. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I got a little bit of advantage. I get invited to scrambles a lot. But yeah, I don't think really if anybody cares about how good you are at golf. I think they care about, are you, you're with this person for 4 hours. Are you going to be a good conversation? Are you going to get in the way? At the end of the day. So.
Love it. I do. By the way, gang, if you are going to do this, learn the etiquette of a golf course. I promise you, good conversation does not mean during a backswing. Just my guess. Ryan, final question. When you look up, why do you think that all of these people come every other week? What's the one thing that this gives them back the most? Is it the sense of community? Is it shared mission? Is it a group of people to talk to? What's the one thing that keeps them coming back?
I definitely think they get a lot of value from it. I think they're progressing forward because everybody wants to come to the meeting each week and say, hey, this is what I've done. But I think it's the sense of community, knowing that people are going through the same thing that they're going through, that any kind of hardships that they're having or problems, anxiety, whatever it may be, there's a group full of people that have the same problems. So to me, I just think that's always that's always why I think people come back, is that they found a group of people that they have just so much in common with.
Dude, it makes perfect sense to me. I love it. I love what you're doing. I think the idea that you can do the things you enjoy and then quote unquote call it lead gen is one of the most intoxicating and exciting ideas there is. Because most people wake up in the morning and they ask a different question, which is, how do I force myself to do stuff I don't like? That's how they think about lead gen. You wake up every day and you say, how do I play more golf and how do I hang out with more people that I like and that fill me up? And that, my friend, is an equation for success. Ryan, thank you for joining us today, sir.
Thanks. That was awesome.
It's so brilliant. And by the way, when I say that there's a group of humans that wake up every day and ask a question, how do I do more activities that I don't like and call it lead gen, it breaks my heart. That's not why any of us got into the real estate business. We all got into the greatest industry in the world to enjoy our lives, not do things we don't like. You want to go to a place where they have you do stuff you don't like every day, all day. There's a place for that. It's called prison. And you don't have to be there. That's not this thing of ours. Listen to what he said. Any group of people that are like-minded and have problems to solve is a community. Like-minded. They have problems to solve. The key for Ryan, he just simply gets them together and gives them a forum to mastermind the solution. He doesn't show up like Nostradamus or the Oracle with all the answers. He provides a safe space and then proctors the conversation. You see, he's part of a franchise that has huge, beautiful offices, so he's able to do it at no costs. He gets them in every other week at a standing time so that everybody falls into schedule. He simply asks the group, what's the problems that you're dealing with? And before you know it, a raging conversation has started. All Ryan is doing is adding structure and semblance to the discussion. And here's the key to this. He actually cares. You see, I got just from talking to Ryan something that I think you picked up on also. He cares about all the people in that group. Heck, he cares if you're a new member at his country club. Ryan cares deeply about people and understands that it's communities coming together that help move people forward. You know what his true genius is? Ryan is a humanist. That's what I would call him. Perhaps the last true humanist, because what you didn't hear were all of the different pieces of AI or technology that he needs to pull it off. What you didn't hear is how big of a back office he needs. What you didn't hear is how big his operations manual is. What you did hear? The humanist in Ryan said something really simple. 8 to 12 people in a room every other week simply solving their problems results in $6 to $8 million in closed real estate volume. Friends, Ryan is running a people development business. And when you develop people, you never have to look for business. Go forth and do likewise.